Liz here from LizDialto.com, and today in the hot seat I have Ashley Turner from ashleyturner.org, and she is an incredible woman. I'm going to let her in a minute tell you what she does, because she does a couple different things, all of which complement each other. Really cool stuff. But I met Ashley a couple months ago at the book launch party for Woman Code, which if you've been following the hot seat, you've probably watched my interview with Elisa Vitti. If you have not, you have to go check that out. Ashley and Elisa are great friends too. So Ashley, welcome, and thank you so much for stepping into the hot seat today.
Thank you so much. So fun. It's such a pleasure meeting you. I love it. Our paths are very, synergistic.
I love it. So I'm just going to let you guys always tell your own story better than I possibly could. Tell everyone what you do.
Well, I've been a yoga teacher for 13 years. I teach in Los Angeles, area, and then all around the world, workshops about once a month around the country, festivals, conferences around the world. And then I went back to school to get my master's in psychology, so now I'm also a mind-body psychotherapist, really combining the mind-body, Eastern, Western approaches. So I call it yoga psychology, which is really the foundation of yoga. I'm also an ordained priestess, so I did a priestess workshop for 13 moons, about a year-long training, and so I work with I bring that into my work a lot, both in group environments and also in trainings, and then also with one-on-one clients. I see clients around the world on Skype every week, and then I recently just came out with my first book, Aroma Yoga, which is detailing using aromatherapy and essential oils in your yoga practice, in life, and really tapping the medicinal qualities of that. So that's
cool.
That's sort of a brief overview of my
the full spectrum.
Work.
And I was just actually on your website looking at the Aroma Yoga book, because I have to tell you, just this January of 2013, I started my own yoga practice consistently. And one of the things I love more than anything at the end of a yoga class is when the instructors do use an essential oil and they come up and you're in Savasana, and they're just hold it over your face.
Yeah.
Oh man! And lately in my studio, they've been using like a sweet orange fragrance, which is just delightful. I went out and bought it for myself. So, talk to me a little bit more. If people are watching, I do a lot of fitness and nutrition talk and coaching. So I have a feeling that some people watching may not even know what an ordained priestess is or does. Can you tell us what that means?
It's so funny because I get that question more than anything else. People are really curious about the priestess work. Well, the priestess work is it's feminine empowerment. And it's not just for women, it's for women and men, really to empower the feminine, which is one half of reality, right? It's our intuition, emotional intelligence, using the body, connecting to our sensuality, empowering our sexuality, using ritual, really aligning our lives with the solar and lunar currencies so that we start to move in harmony, and taking a few days around the new moon to slow down and get more internal and get more receptive. Recognizing a few days around the full moon is more of an effulgent time, a time of ovulation, and really coming into our juiciest qualities and where we might want to follow through on projects and bring things to fruition. So just beginning to align in this way. It's really a lot about using ritual in your life, using ritual to move through different phases of life. So the way that my priestess worked was she broke down feminine spirituality into 13 different archetypes, or 13 major aspects, such as the Great Mother, the Goddess of Love, the Creatrix, the Queen of Death, the Goddess of Compassion, the Protectorate, the Initiator. So whatever phase you're going through in life, whatever's happening for you in your life, you can turn to this archetype and you can really begin to invoke these certain qualities and call them forth within you. So for example, last year I went through a really intense breakup, really heartbroken, disappointed, and grieving. And so I would create a whole altar space for the Queen of Death, and then study the different aspects of the Queen of Death from all different traditions, whether it's Maori in New Zealand, or Japanese mythology, or Greek mythology, or Hinduism, and use these different qualities there's different herbs, different essential oils, different foods, elements associated with each different archetype. So it's just a really tangible way to start to invoke qualities within yourself and call forth that quality within yourself. Like, help me release. So the mantra of the Queen of Death is, I release, I trust. I release, I trust. So if you're going through something like the ending of, a relationship or a job, you can use that mantra, and that'll become part of your personal sadhana, your personal practice, to really help you through. And there's a different archetype for anything that you're going through. So it's really working in a practical way. It's using what's happening in your life. It's not ethereal. It's not abstract. It's actually very tangible. So how do we reconnect with feminine spirituality and through all these different ways?
You're blowing my mind right now, partially because over the last years, my own spiritual journey has been a little different. Like, I was raised Catholic. I decided that wasn't for me. And I've been doing a lot of research and reading and all these other things. And I know some people watching might be like, I don't know, that sounds a little woo-woo for me, but I totally dig it. So I think that's really amazing. Now, also, I'll ask a specific question related to your book, and I'll put links to go to Ashley's website to check out the book if you're interested. Aromatherapy is another thing. Over the last several months, different essential oils for different things. I love to drop them in my bath. Every once in a while, I'll even drop an essential oil in some hot water. If it's, depending on what I need, if my stomach is upset or something like that. What would you say, for some reason I always ask top 3, what would you say typically end up being the top 3 essential oils you recommend to people, and why? And if that's not a good question, tell me and I can reshape it for you.
No, it's perfect. Well, number 1, lavender. Lavender is like the universal oil. If you're only going to get one essential oil, get lavender. But it's really important to make sure that you use therapeutic grade essential oils, because a lot of the oils, even that we see at Whole Foods and natural food stores, are still diluted, or they're cut with preservatives or alcohol. So you're not going to get the same medicinal properties that you get when you're working with an organic therapeutic grade oil. So there's a couple great companies out there. I work with Young Living Essential Oils, which I really love because they have so many blends that are alchemized to create very specific effects, to have very specific, prescriptive medicinal qualities. But lavender is a great one to start with. There's a blog on my website, which I think is 13 great ways to use lavender oil. Oh, cool. Lavender is great for cuts, burns. It's obviously really calming. It's really helpful for sleep. You can use it with babies and young children, which is not always the case. I always carry lavender in my bag. I mean, I just was flying cross country the other day, went to Starbucks in LAX and grabbed my tea, and it just spilled all over, and I had this whole burn on my hand. So I pulled out, I was getting ready to get on a plane. I was like, great, this sucks, So I pulled out my lavender oil, put a couple drops on, and no mark, no stinging, gone. It's phenomenal how effective all the oils are.
I didn't know that. I definitely knew for calming. I was even having trouble sleeping a couple weeks ago, and I put a couple drops of lavender in my humidifier. That worked. That, definitely for the calming and the sleep. Yeah. And the bath.
I have it so funny. I have my diffusers going over there right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So lavender's one. There's another great blend which I love from Young Living. It's called Thieves, and I'll give the links for this. But Thieves Oil is actually, I have it right in my bag. I'm going to pull it out because it's an antiseptic, antifungal, antibacterial oil, and one of the great ways to use Thieves, you can use it for all kinds of cleansing purposes. They actually have a whole line of Thieves oil that's, to clean your house. It's great for yoga studios. You can clean your counters. They have spray. You can use it in your throat. So whenever I go to fly again, because it's such a sort of hotbed for bacteria and viruses to breed, I use Thieves, and you can put a couple drops, 1 or 2 drops in your mouth, or on the soles of your feet, because the soles of the feet are really absorbent, and it will pull it into the bloodstream, and then you kind of have this inner shielding.
That's cool.
Yeah, so Thieves is made, I mean, the folklore is that it came from medieval times when there were grave robbers, and thieves were robbing the graves to get, valuables, and it was during the time of the plague, and so they wanted to protect themselves, and they figured out this blend of oils that would protect them from getting sick. And it's clove, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary, but it's all blended together. So Thieves is also like, you feel like you're getting a sore throat, a drop or two in your mouth, and at any time. It's great. It's amazing.
I actually have heard that, the plague thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then, I would say the third one, I mean, whatever your favorite is, peppermint is a really good one.
Yeah.
Lemon is great because you can use both of those in water, like you mentioned. I have my glass water bottle here that I always use. And you want to make sure, though, if you're using therapeutic grade essential oils, you never use them in plastic because they're so strong. They will start to break down the petrochemicals in the plastic, and then you're getting those little particles that you're ingesting. So
I had no idea.
Yeah, you never want to use therapeutic grade in plastic. You only want to use in glass, which also tells you how powerful they are because they're also doing that in your body. They're pulling heavy metals and toxins out of the tissues and helping to dislodge that. So
cool. So tell me, bring me back to that water bottle that you just pulled out there. Did you put that contraption together yourself, or you got that somewhere?
I love this water bottle. It says, if you can see, it says abundance on it. I don't know if you can see that.
I can see it.
It said that the glass, the color, when light filters through glass, it takes on that color. Mm-hmm. And also, if you've heard of, Messages in Water, there's a great film and a great book on that. And so the messages or the intention that your water begins to absorb that and hold that resonance.
Oh, cool.
So this company made bottles with different messages on the front, different words on the front. So this one says abundance, and then you put it in the sun and it infuses the water with the radiant indigo blue, vibration of blue, which is also fifth chakra, and then abundance, that's the message. I also really love it just because I always drink so much water, which I think I need right now.
Yep, please go for it.
And then, it has this harness, which is from rock climbing. So I just throw it over my shoulder, and then I'm not lugging around a bottle like I'm always carrying so much stuff.
So does it say on there, what is the company again, you're blowing my mind with all these cool resources.
You know what? It doesn't say the company, which is such a bummer. There is a little insignia that it was signed on the bottom, like a scratched signature. I got it at a yoga festival where I teach.
I gotta look this. I'm sure if we Google like glass water bottle with message, we could probably find it.
We'll see if we can dig that up by the time we post this.
So now I know you do. Oh God, I set this intention a couple weeks ago, and by the time people are watching this, it might even already be the fall. But I want to go to a yoga teacher training this fall or winter in Bali. And I was looking around on your website because you're doing in like the Galapagos and all these cool places. Where is your favorite spot that you've gone to in the world to teach yoga? It's amazing. I mean, it's so hard to narrow it down, but it's amazing. I went to India for the first time in January, and I literally found myself the second day I was in India teaching at this amazing ashram of Sri Swami Chittanand Saraswati, who's just one of the great living gurus doing a lot of environmental work in India. He's incredible. I was teaching at his ashram on the banks of the Ganga at the Kumbh Mela festival, which is the largest gathering of humanity on the planet. So that was pretty incredible to finally land in India and end up teaching on the banks of the Ganga, which is where the practice started. It's amazing.
But I do a retreat every 3 years to Peru. Ooh. And I work with my shaman who lives down there, and we work with plant medicine and ceremony, and we go to Machu Picchu. I always do it on spring equinox. It's an incredible journey. So that probably won't be until 2015, but I've done 3 of those retreats. That's really close to my heart. It really weaves together all the work that I do, which is the psychotherapy, deep inner, healing and transformation, really shadow work, addressing, the barriers, things that are holding us back. But also, I got my bachelor's degree from USC here in Los Angeles in international relations. So I'm really passionate about bringing people to different cultures and around the world.
That's really cool. Now, if someone is watching this and they're like, I've always thought about going to a yoga retreat, but it makes me a little nervous. What would you say to those people? What would be, whether it's a week long or 2 weeks or even just a long weekend, what would you say if someone, You know, because I feel like there's so many like casual yoga practicers, right? Like people who go 2 or 3 times a week and maybe aren't even getting the full benefits of yoga because they're kind of just showing up in the middle of their busy lives. What would you say? Why should people even think about going to a retreat?
Well, I would say this. Number one, every one of my best friends in the world at this moment in time, I've met on a yoga retreat through yoga.
That's cool.
So it's life-changing. And when you go away like that and pull yourself out of your daily routine and out of all these, you know, roles that we're playing out, you immerse yourself in this practice. It's like a little cocoon. And, you know, people that go on yoga retreats naturally are pretty healthy. They're into health and wellness and nutrition, and they're doing something for their betterment. So most people are in a pretty good mood on a retreat. And it's a great way to meet people. It's a great way to, you know, go by yourself. You don't have to go with anyone. People always call me before my retreats. Like, I'm nervous. I'm not coming with anyone. And I always say, like, I can't even put it into words, but the level of bonding that you're going to experience on this retreat is beyond anything you can imagine. So trust, just come. And it's within the first, you know, we do an opening circle. That's it. Everybody's, you know, bonded and connected, and it's amazing. And there's lifelong friendships that come out of yoga retreats. So, I mean, that's just a sheer byproduct of the practice.
Yeah, that's cool. So I have a partner, and I created a program called the Complete Body Program. And one of the things that we found coming up recurring are, you know, women like us, and we probably who have a lot of these in our communities, who are a little more spiritually centered. They're into energy work, personal growth, and things like that. One of the downsides of that is you do outgrow your old friends sometimes.
Correct.
You do find you have people in your life, they're going to be near and dear to your heart, but you have fewer and fewer things in common with them. So that's a great way, it sounds like, to connect with people who are more aligned for those of you who are growing, shifting, and changing. So that was a great point.
Yeah, it's really important that you find your tribe, that you find your community, that you surround yourself with people that are what you're aspiring to. You know, it's like playing tennis with someone better than you. I mean, I'm, you know, one of the reasons that I stay so on track with nutrition and fitness is because all my friends are doing this. All my friends are doing their work. All my friends are doing their deep shadow work. So when I go to talk to them about my relationship or whatever, like, everybody's right there. But it took me, I didn't have that kind of community until I started doing yoga. I mean, I was working in Hollywood, and I was struggling, and I was depressed, and I felt really alienated and isolated and alone, and I didn't have good girlfriends, ironically. And when I really committed, you know, to the yoga world, it happened so naturally, and it's just a really great way to connect with people. So yeah, it's important to find your community and do what you need to, like, build and forge those new friendships. Definitely.
That's cool. So wait, let's go back a second. What were you doing in Hollywood?
I was acting. After school, I acted for about 5 years.
Oh, wow. That is like one of the hardest things on the planet to do, isn't it?
Oh, crazy. I have so much respect. Like, just as an art form alone, not to mention the personal aspects of it, but yeah.
Tough. Well, Ashley, I don't want to keep you too long. I know you have another client coming up here. You do so much. I think it's so amazing. You're a marvel. And I can't wait till one of your next retreats here in Laguna Beach at the Montage when I get to actually come to that. It's right down the street from my house. So I'm going to put links to ashleyturner.org, to your book, and the essential oils, and all that cool stuff that we talked about today. For those of you thinking about retreats, she has some coming up on her website. Check her out. Any last other parting thoughts, words?
No, just, I mean, definitely keep in touch. You know, everyone, if you have any questions about mind, body, you know, relationships, the chakras, like, send them my way. My new DVD is coming out in the fall, so look for that. It's yoga for strength and flexibility. Super excited. Just shot it last Friday.
I saw you were posting on Instagram, and I was like, oh, I want it.
I know. It's going to be fun. But thank you so much, Liz. It's been amazing being here with you guys.
You're welcome. So, all right, we'll see you later.
Take care. Bye.